This is homework 15, and we're going to go over it really quickly. 1a, the absolute value of negative 12 is 12. Its absolute value is asking how far from the 0 we are. So this is the absolute value of 12 plus a negative 12. Well, that would be 12 minus 12 is 0. The absolute value of 0 is 0. C, 1 minus the absolute value of negative 2. Well, the absolute value of negative 2 is 2, so this is 1 minus 2, which is negative 1. D, negative 1 times the absolute value of negative 7 plus 2 plus 5. Well, the absolute value of negative 7 plus 2 is the absolute value of negative 5. And the absolute value of negative 5 is 5, so this is negative 1 times 5 plus 5. Negative 5 plus 5 is 0. And E, 4 minus the absolute value of 4 minus 14. Well, the absolute value of 4 minus 14 would be the absolute value of negative 10. The absolute value of negative 10 is 10, so this would be 4 minus 10, which would be negative 6. So, problem 2. A, the absolute value of x equals 7. So remember, when we have these, we're going to do a positive and negative side. So the absolute value of x is going to equal 7, or on our negative side, x will equal negative 7. B, the absolute value of y minus 5 equals 3. Well, that's going to be y minus 5 equals 3, and y minus 5 equals negative 3. On both of them, we'll add 5. We'll get y equals 8. We'll add 5, and we'll get y equals 2. So 2 solutions here. Okay, 2 solutions. C, the absolute value of m minus 4 equals 6. Well, that's going to be m minus 4 equals 6, and m minus 4 equals negative 6. We'll add 4. M equals 10. Add 4. M equals negative 2. D, absolute value of 4p minus 2 equals 22. So 4p minus 2 equals 22. 4p minus 2 equals negative 22. So we'll add 2. 22 and 2 make 24. Divide by 4. And we get 6. Same steps, add 2, but negative 22 and 2 make negative 20. Divide by 4, and we get negative 5. E, absolute value of 6x minus 4 equals 2, so this is 6x minus 4 equals 2, and 6x minus 4 equals negative 2. Add 4, 6x equals 6, divide by 6, x equals 1. Other side, add 4, 6x equals 2, divide by 6. And now we look at this, and 2 goes into both those. 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 6 3 times. So that makes 1/3. F, absolute value of 2k minus 4 minus 8 equals 10. So now when we don't have our absolute value by itself, we need to get it by itself. So I need to add 8 to both sides first. Now I've got the absolute value of 2k minus 4 equals 18. Now we can have our positive and negative side. So 2k minus 4 equals 18, and 2k minus 4 equals negative 18. So both sides will add 4. We'll get 2k equals 22, divide by 2, k equals 11, add 4, negative 18 and 4 makes negative 14, divide by 2, k equals negative 7. F, G, absolute value of 2n plus 3 plus 4 equals 8. So here we gotta subtract 4 from both sides before we can do anything. Absolute value of 2n plus 3 equals 4. So that means we have two sides. 2n plus 3 equals 4. 2n plus 3 equals negative 4. Subtract 3. 2n equals 1, divide by 2, n equals 1/2, subtract 3, 2n equals negative 7, divide by 2, n equals negative 7/2. It's at G, alright, so that's G, so H is going to be the absolute value of 5 minus 4x minus 3 equals 4. So we'll add 3 to both sides. Absolute value of 5 minus 4x equals 7. We'll have our positive side, 5 minus 4x equals 7, and our negative side, 5 minus 4x equals negative 7. Subtract 5 from both sides. Negative 4x equals 2. Divide by negative 4. X equals negative 1/2. Subtract 5 from both sides. Negative 4x equals negative 12. Divide by negative 4. And x equals 3. I, negative 1 times the absolute value of 5r minus 1 equals negative 4. So we want to divide both sides by negative 1, so we get the absolute value of 5r minus 1 equals 4. And now we'll have our positive and negative side. 5r minus 1 equals 4. Negative side, 5r minus 1 equals negative 4. Solve for r, add 1. 5r equals 5, divide by 5, r equals 1. Other side, add 1. Negative 4 and 1 make negative 3, divide by 5, r equals negative 3/5. J, 2 plus 3 times the absolute value of d plus 6 equals 14. So now, when there's this 3 out in front, well, first let's get rid of the 2, because this is adding 2 and multiplying by 3. So we're going to subtract 2 from both sides. 3 times the absolute value of d plus 6 equals 12. So now this absolute value is being multiplied by 3. So we want to get the absolute value by itself. So we'll just divide by 3. So we'll get the absolute value of d plus 6 equals 4. So that would be a positive side of d plus 6 equals 4, and a negative side of d plus 6 equals negative 4. From here we'll subtract 6. D equals negative 2. Subtract 6 from the other side, and d equals negative 10. So that is problem that was I, right? J, 2 plus 3. No, that was J. This is J here. So that was problem J. Problem K, 5 plus 5 times the absolute value of 2x plus 8 equals negative 5. So we want to get rid of what's on the outside first, so we'll subtract 5 from both sides. 5 times the absolute value of 2x plus 8 equals negative 10. Divide by 5. The absolute value of 2x plus 8 equals negative 2. Well, how could the absolute value of something equal a negative? So once we get to here, we're going to say no real solutions. Because we can't have the absolute value. We don't know what this variable is. So whatever this variable was, though, if we're taking its absolute value, it's not going to equal a negative. It can't equal a negative. So that's why we have no solutions. So then L is the absolute value of y plus 9 equals 2y. So this is going to be y plus 9 equals 2y, and y plus 9 equals negative 2y. Solve this for y. We subtracted y. Excuse me. Subtract y from both sides and we get y equals 9. On this other side, I'll move my 2y over, so I'll add 2y to both sides and we'll subtract 9. Subtract 9 from both sides. So we'll get 3y equals negative 9. And divide by 3. And so y equals negative 3. L, M. M says the absolute value of 3x minus 2 divided by 5 equals 1. So we've got the absolute value, so this is going to be 3x minus 2 divided by 5 equals 1. And 3x minus 2 divided by 5 equals negative 1. So what do we need to do? Well, this whole operation is being divided by 5, so I can undo dividing by 5 by multiplying by 5. I get 3x minus 2 equals 5. Add 2. 3x equals 7. Divide by 3. X equals 7/3. Same thing on this side. Multiply both sides by 5. 5 simplify. 3x minus 2 equals negative 5. Add 2. Add 2. 3x equals negative 3. Divide by 3. X equals negative 1. N, absolute value of 5x minus 3 equals 37. Well, what's on the outside? That minus 3, so we'll add 3 because we want to get absolute value by itself. Absolute value of 5x equals 40. So 5x equals 40 and 5x equals negative 40. We will divide by 5. X equals 8. Divide by 5. X equals negative 8. O, 1/2 times the absolute value of m plus 3 is greater than or equal to 4. Oops, wrong problem. Wrong problem. O, absolute value of h plus 4 equals 2h minus 7. So this is h plus 4 equals 2h minus 7, and then our negative side would be h plus 4 equals negative 2h plus 7, because I'm multiplying this by negative 1, or multiplying by negative 1 to get that. Negative 1 times 2h makes negative 2h. Negative 1 times negative 7 makes positive 7. So there's our negative side to that. So now let's get our h's on the same side. If I subtracted h from both sides, that would get my h's on the right, which means I want my constants on the left, so I'll add 7 to both sides, and we get h equals 11. Or we can add 2h to both sides. If we're getting our h's on the left, then we'll get our constants on the right, so we need to subtract 4. So we get 3h equals 3, divide by 3, and h equals 1. So that was lesson or homework 15. All those problems. Let's see how long that took us.